Yes, but thanks so much for coming down on this wonderful day. How are you? How's life?
Our life couldn't be better, especially I just had lunch. So
Oh, okay, he's happy now.
if I sound sleepy, you know why.
No, that's fine. Well, don't sleep just yet. Don't sleep just yet. Boutros, thank you so much for taking the time. I think it's really important to have someone of your stature, if I can big you up, and your experience and from the brand that you represent. Before we delve into the sports tech and that side of things, how's this year been for you so far?
Of course, it's been a great year for Emirates because, as you know, Emirates is based in Dubai. This is our headquarters, so we have a lot of customers from UAE, and economy has been great for everybody, and we are part of the economy. So for Emirates Airline, we've been witnessing a great couple of years. This year is better than ever, and I'm sure you heard that we made good profit the first 6 months, and we are hoping to repeat in the coming 6 months.
That's what we like to hear, constantly moving forward. Let's talk about then more about your, I guess why we're here, sponsorship to innovation and how Emirates is redefining that. Talking about sports tech, which is why we're here at Level Up, what do you think has been the biggest shift that you've seen in sports tech adoption, I guess? I'm not even going to put a time on that. Full stop. And what do you think is driving that?
I think, like every business, you know, the technology, the improvement in technology and the development over the last 10 years, whether it's like hardwares or softwares, had hit every single industry. And sports tech is part of it. A lot of innovation I can see, a lot of creativity. In the end, sports industry is a huge industry. And I believe a lot of our colleagues in the industry are seeing a good benefit. In terms of what you witness in terms of technology, I guess sports organizers are seeing it more than us. For me, as a sponsor, I don't see much in the shift because we don't organize events, we don't organize sports, we sponsor it. Of course, auditing becomes much better for us. You can now ROI can be monitored in a much better level. Justification can be really, you can go down. You have enough data today and analytics that tells you what you sponsor, whether it's worth the money you put, is it reaching your target audience or not. Fortunately or unfortunately, it didn't exist in the past. We used to do a lot of guesses, and we used to rely a lot on focus groups, a lot on samples from the public, which was like 100 people. Now, Today, your sample is 5 million. Yeah. So, of course, it's a huge development. And, I'm very optimistic that things can only be better.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we've only seen that change, as you say, from those focus groups of 100 people to the data of 5 million in literally the last, decade alone. And you've seen that in your role.
Yeah, in my role, I've seen the shift, but from particular Emirates, because we are an in-house department, we are not an agency. So in reality, and we are not a public company, so I don't have to justify to anybody what I do. Right. My customers are my boss and our chairman. So I have two people to convince, then I can move on. And I believe this was probably a unique USP for Emirates that helped us to succeed on what we do, because we don't have to go into KPI and tens of hours of justification and selling what you want to do. We built the strategy 30 years ago. It's still working till today. It paid off. It's very successful. And we measured it very well, mainly in awareness. So our awareness has grown in certain countries to like 98%, 96%. In certain countries, we're still below 50%. But it paid off, for Emirates to become, one of the truly global brands.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know what that noise is. Now, you mentioned KPIs then. So could you, if you had to pick one KPI that actually moves the business, can I get that answer out of you, and why would that be?
To be honest with you, it's a series of KPIs that will make the business moving. One KPI, no. But for us, we always focus on awareness, because we needed, in the early stages of Emirates, we needed to create awareness. Nobody knew what's Emirates. They think it's a country. They think it's... Nobody knew. I remember we went to the first, when we went to the first club, they didn't want to talk to us even, because they said, like, why, this is an Arab brand. I'm not going to put it on my shirt.
Was that in London? Wasn't it in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I know this story. Are you going to give us any more details on that?
No. It's not a secret, but at the end of the day, it was different management, different people. And
so how did you convince them? We are Emirates, we are brilliant.
We went to a better club.
Okay.
That's it. And this was enough to convince them.
Did they come crawling back?
Not necessary. It's a sports industry is a quite unique industry. It's because the one who organizes the sports is not the one who sell it. So when you deal with the marketing and sales people and management, they are more or less detached from the sports itself. So anyway, it's very healthy, because you don't want to influence the sports. And for us, we had a policy. We never interfere in the clubs, what they do. Who do they appoint? Who's the players? Like a lot of people, they see me, tell Arsenal to change this player, and why they don't change this coach. And it's nothing to do with me, Plus, I don't understand anything in any sports, I'm good watching sports, but apart from that, I'm not really...
What's your sport that you watch?
I watch a mixture, because of my job, I have to watch a lot of sports, but it's not necessary I enjoy it. So.
Do you ever? This is interesting. I want to be a fly on the wall in your house when you're watching sport. When you watch sports, do you go, oh, that was a great pass, or that was a great play, or do you go, why are they the sponsor and I want it to be Emirates?
Exactly.
Right.
That's the problem. It's killing my joy, because when I watch it, I cannot help it but look at the sponsors, at the branding. It's what people can watch, what can attract their eyes. It's a part of my job, and fortunately or unfortunately, but I cannot enjoy it. So I go, for example, I only enjoy it, let's say, if I go to watch a tennis. I can watch tennis. Okay. Then, because I know the branding is fixed there, and it's not televised. So the television is a different story. So watching sport on social media or on mobile or iPad or whatever, it's not a joy to me. That's why sometimes my team, they think I love to travel the world to watch sports. Partly yes. But in reality, because I want to really watch real sports, I can't enjoy it at all on TV.
It's so interesting, actually. I've never really thought about it. I guess, again, I've gone off script slightly here. Is there an example that you can tell us of where you were watching a sport and you saw that Emirates wasn't sponsoring and you thought, I want in?
To be honest, no. No.
Because you're already there.
No, we sponsor the top 6 sports in the world, the top watch sports, and this was our strategy. It's not a decision you take and you can execute in one day. It took us 10 years or maybe 15 years to be able to be in every sport. The beauty of sports is exclusive. When you have exclusivity, and this is where distinguish Emirates from any other brand. If you go to Arsenal or to cricket or to rugby, you only see, in our category, which is airline category, you only see Emirates. While if you go to advertise in a newspaper or TV, you see Emirates, and after Emirates you see another airline and another airline. So this is where I see Emirates everywhere. I don't have time to watch other sports. I remember I watched one year, I went to watch the French tour cycling before we sponsor UAE. So Tour de France, they drive you they were trying to convince me to sponsor them. And we drove around 280 kilometers from one stage to another. And on the road, I counted at least 40 people wearing Emirates shirt. So I said, why do I sponsor you since everybody wearing my shirt for free? So, and it was really eye-catching, and then we decided to sponsor the UAE cycling team.
Yeah, the tour, yeah.
Because to me it's a great sport. It's long, but the people who watch it on the streets, I never believed that I could for 280 kilometers. Probably 200 kilometers of them were people waiting in the two sides.
Yeah.
So it's a great sport, and
it is. Watching cycling, I don't know if anyone actually has, but when you watch live cycling, at first you think, well, why would I do that? Because you're there, you wait for half an hour, and then vroom, 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 and then it's done. Sounds like F1, really, doesn't it? But it is so electric, and the UAE Tour, it is phenomenal. So, and I think on that then, how do you then... not justify, that's perhaps the wrong word. How do you divide up your sponsorship between your local brands and your local events and local sports and then global sponsorships?
We don't divide it. We have, as I told you, we have a strategy to go to the top 6 sports. For local consumption, so in some countries where they need to host their customers and so on, we look at the best available events. Again, you need to understand, sports is not something available for you every day. So if you go to Formula One, for example, today is sponsored by one of our competitors. So there is no way I can sponsor it, and so on and so on. So you need to select first what's available, what's suitable to your brand, and what is offer the local requirement. In general, these activities are really low cost. They don't cost a lot of money. They are covered by the local market. It's in their budget, so I manage it, but I don't pay for it. Mainly from the corporate budget, this is where we spend money on big sports. So if you pay, for example, we sponsor Arsenal, we don't charge it to the UK operation. Otherwise, you'll never make money. You charge it to the nations where they watch soccer. So if you look at between Real Madrid, Arsenal, and AC Milan, and Benfica and Lyon, French one, it's happening in 5 different countries, but in reality, it's paid by the corporate budget, which is spread all over the 126 destinations we cover.
Okay, that makes sense. So then talking about the ROI, which you touched on earlier, where do you see the real ROI first? And I guess it's how do you measure it, right? What's important to you?
Yeah, as I told you, I'm not an agency, so I don't have to come up with all these unnecessary justifications and what I call it BS, So
we understand your code.
Yeah, exactly. So what we look at really what's the TV exposure. So we have our internal KPI where it's mainly focused on this TV exposure, how much value it has. So this way I can compare this year by last year, by other sponsors we do. So it's an internal action because we know our sports, we are no better than anybody else. I don't need anybody or any study to tell me cricket is number 1 in the cricket nations, which cover 2 billion people. Soccer is number 1 sport in the world. And so on and so on. So they don't need study, to be honest with you, or convincing. You go to FIFA World Cup is no-brainer if you want to do it, if you want to sponsor. Olympic is different story. But everywhere where you have branding, we are in these top places. So if it comes to other sports, which is they are not fortunate enough to generate public, let's say paddle, it's in the early days, but it's up and coming, and I can see good future for it. But at this stage today, it's not appealing for global brands. Okay. And we know it. This is why we employ good people which understand the business, and this is our KPI. So mainly, to me, the ROI. This is how I measure it, and I measure it. Just to give a figure, we want the coverage to be or we want the exposure to be at least 10-1. So if I get coverage of 100 million, I know I should not pay more than 10 million. Right. But if I can pay 3 million, I'll be even happier, or 1 million, or even for free, even better. But that's it.
Well, on that same basis, then, is there anything? Hang on, I've got 2 questions and they're in my brain. I'll ask the first one. You're talking about monitoring the sports. You mentioned paddle, obviously huge up and coming. I think, again, I'm going to misquote a statistic, totally wrong, but I think the UAE has like the second highest number of courts outside of Spain or something. So it's such a growing sport. Who monitors that? And then who comes to you and says, we really need to now look at sponsoring paddle, for example?
Not any particular person. Okay. Usually we get approached by organizers directly. But in reality, where we go, it's where we think it's going, okay, or where we know. Of course, we monitor, like we get a lot of reports about the TV coverage, and we still look at the top TV, and we look at the value, of course. And it's not necessary if you sponsor a horse race. It's not necessary a horse race is number 6 in the world, but it's for what you pay and for what you get. And this is how I measure and what I need. So, for example, horse racing, it's considered a niche market, but horse racing followers are among the richest people in the world. So for me, it's like a great target audience for our brand. You go around the world, if you watch horse races from Australia to US, you find almost same people traveling. And to travel with a horse, it's very expensive. But as an industry, it has a lot of elements that people don't realize. It's like breeding industry is great, is a huge. Public don't see it, but it's a very fascinating industry. And if you ask me, where would you like if one day, which will never happen, I become a millionaire, I will buy a couple of horses.
Never say never.
Too late now.
Do you write a little daily journal? You can manifest it. That's what we all do now, isn't it? And then on that same backing, my second question that I had was, has there been anything, perhaps you don't have to mention brand names, of course, or sport names. Is there something that Emirates did sponsor and then you realised it was a mistake and the results didn't come in and you stopped?
Yeah, we did a lot of sponsorship.
Is there one that really sticks out?
It's not a mistake. It's the problem with the sports industry. They change the management. So you will be dealing with a great team, then they go and select the members, a new chairman has no clue. So how can you deal with them? And these guys, through the time, they will kill the sports, they'll kill their teams, they will kill not the industry, but then and as I said earlier, it's not my job to teach them what to do. Once the opportunity comes, I walk away, nicely and gently, because, and this is the maximum you could do.
That makes sense. Okay. I'm going to bring the subject back round to kind of the tech side of things. We had a fantastic panel earlier and we were talking about, obviously, AI. When don't we talk about AI? As if you could be at a conference and not talk about AI. But we were talking about build versus partner or in-house versus bringing in. Where do you sit on that?
Actually, in Emirates, we have a good hybrid model. I always say, probably if I was an agency, my department would be one of the biggest agencies in the world, because we have around 400 people working with us, because we look after the website and app. Of course, it develops through the years. We outsource a lot of our activities in terms of, especially in the digital world, we outsource. We use a lot of companies from outside Emirates. Some services we use outside where we need. Some services we do it entirely ourselves. Tomorrow in the weekend we have the Rugby 7. Rugby 7 is bringing, and which is Emirates Airline, we sponsor and we organize. But we hire third party to do the logistic on the ground, because the tournament is not only about rugby. We call it the Sevens. We have several sports, but we will have 7,500 players. It's a big number for any sports, and because it's more or less not what I call it the grade 8 sports. Rugby 7 is not globally known, but for the social community, it's a great event. The social, what comes with it, it's a great event. And the invitational, you have 4,500 players fly into Dubai to go and play and compete over 3 days. So it's a fantastic one. I think we don't give it its chance or its value as a tournament in UAE. You hear about it, but and it's very popular. But I think it's under promoted, and it's I think the value it brings to the economy. Imagine you have 7,500 players. If you have 4,500 flying in, which means each one of them has one person. So you're flying in 9,000 people to Dubai. They stay in a hotel, they eat in restaurants. So it's only Dubai can host such a sheer volume. And if you go there over the weekend, you have we have an average 40,000 people per day. There is a concert. It's amazing event. You know,
I mean, it's a staple of Dubai. Certainly, I mean, you know, Dubai's been my home for 18 years, and I've seen it grow from what was the Exiles before, now up to obviously the Emirates Airline at Rugby Sevens Stadium. And as you say, even the concerts add to it. It's no longer you just go to watch a Rugby Sevens match. It's an entire event, which is interesting, actually. I was speaking to Ellie Norman, who's the CMO for Formula E. She's based in the UK, and I was chatting to her at an event in Riyadh last month. She was saying about the GCC market, and I'd be interested to know your take on this. She said, you guys are so demanding here in the GCC. We can't just put on a race and you turn up to the race and you're happy, like in Europe. You want everything. You want a festival, you want a concert, you want activations to go along with it. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. We do. Do you agree? How do you feel about things like that based in this GCC market?
Anyway, yes, I agree. And not because we are greedy, but because the GCC market is the texture of people there. You have like 200 nationalities, and you need to cater to everybody's taste. And you need to, like weekends is for family. You need to, like when we do events, for us, we are sponsored. We don't organize. We only organize the sevens because we took it in a time. There is a history behind it. Nobody was like supporting it. So, and there was not enough for expats. And so we built it. We took a decision, Emirates Airline, to build the sevens so we can cater for the expats. We opened clubs for the rugby clubs. Anyway, so it's a long story, but the sevens wasn't my idea or anybody's idea. Very few people know, but this sevens as a tournament, it started 65 years ago in Dubai, before Emirates was born. We took it to a different level. I think by 2007 or 8, it became part of the IRB at that time, the rugby union. And since then, you have the best two rugby sevens happening are Dubai and Hong Kong, simply because they do a lot of social activities on the side. So you can go, probably you learn from, in US, you go to, I watch, for example, football and so on. Cheerleaders, they do small activities, but this is what people like more than anything else. So the sports itself, you watch it, and now today you go to any famous or big tournaments around the globe. If there is no village, if there is no merchandising, if there are no activities, people like, it's not they stop going, but it's not appealing. And it's a source of income as well for the organizers. And for us, if you think of the sevens, 2/3 of our income is like 1/3 from the ticketing, 1/3 from sponsorship, third is from the activities, from people buying food, alcohol, and all this stuff.
Yeah, and sports tourism is such a growing market, and I think that helps. Conscious of time, we have 2 minutes left. How do you see sports tech evolving then in the next 5 years, be that within Emirates brand or otherwise?
No, for me, I can see as an industry, of course, it's evolving. You just spoke about esports. Yes. And this is, to me, is a huge development. Although they call it sports, but I don't see anybody doing any sports activity, just sitting in front of the screen. But anyway, let's say it's a sport, so it's developing. Technology is improving so much. Like for ticketing, for even logistic, it's sports technology becomes out of necessity. So if you want to continue to grow, you have to create the data which, as a sponsor, I can access. You have to create the communication with your potential customers and visitors. Not too many people have access to TV today like they used to do before. So you need to provide them access to the information. So all this will force the industry to adopt new technology and grow it. And I can see it can only grow.
And it certainly is. We've nailed it. We've nailed the time.
Welcome.
You can get home. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause for Boutros for taking the time. Welcome. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.